Hey guys, so just quick talk from my bedroom. So just want to talk a little bit about Deload week and what it entails, what it's for, and what basically you get out of it. So first of all, I suppose Deload week it's tough in a way because a lot of people don't want to do it. Okay, it's if you're pushing yourself enough in your training, you will need a deload week because the fatigue will have built up so much that you will basically need to let that fatigue dissipate so that you can just recover and just basically repeat the cycles. So basically the deload week it's a recovery week. It's a week where you just let your body refresh so that you can repeat the cycle and keep pushing to your limits. Because if you keep trying to push, you're going to just eventually either break or just like I said last week, get sick of it. I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with deload week, and I think a lot of people will struggle with deload weeks. It's just because I suppose, especially now in lockdown, when you have a focus on something and you're pushing towards something, I think the training hard is just nice, and you always want to train hard, and there is something built into us that we just want to train hard. But saying that, I do know how important it is, and like even though it is tough, I just kind of push through it, and before you know it, it's over, and then you're happy you've done it because you feel fresh for the next week, and then you can drive on again. In my case, because I'll be going into a cutting phase, I'll be going to my photo shoot prep after this. It's probably even more important because I do need to be like that, a little bit more fresh now going into the next phase, so that I can train well, maintain the muscle I have as I'm dieting down, and again just be in a good headspace when I'm doing that. So later on, I'm just going to take you through basically how the training looks, and also I'm going to talk you through how the nutrition looks on a deload week and how you might set that up for yourself. So how to do a deload. This is from a training perspective, so I'm going to run through this and then I'll take you through the nutritional stuff as well. So basically what we're looking at here, okay, is we want to drop the volume and intensity for the week. So we want to drop it enough that it lets the fatigue dissipate, but we don't want to drop it so much that we're not doing anything, okay? So the aim of this week is to let fatigue go down, to maintain the muscle we have, and to get our desire to train back up for next week. So again, that we come back fresh and we repeat the cycle, and that we're feeling good and ready to go, and that we're not just, again, pissing against the wind a little bit in terms of just training too hard and just losing your desire to train and never really continuously progressing. So what we're looking at doing here, okay, for the first half of the week, we're going to be looking at the intensity drop of about 80 to 90% of week 5's weight. So let's just say you're lifting, in week 5, you're lifting 80 kgs on the bench for 10 reps. You're going to drop that down to about 80 to 90%. It doesn't have to be perfect. These numbers are just roughly. So you're talking about if you're doing 80 kgs, you're going to drop it down to maybe around 70, 72 kgs, give or take. So what you're going to do is drop the intensity down 80 to 90% of what you were lifting in week 5, and then you're going to drop the amount of reps down by half. So if you're doing 10 reps of 80 kgs on week 5 to failure, what you're going to be doing on week 6 for the deload is you're going to be doing about 72 kgs, give or take, and you're going to be doing about 5 reps. Okay, so half the amount of reps you got in week 5, and you're going to be dropping the intensity down about 80 to 90%. In terms of volume, and we're going to take that to mean the amount of sets you're doing, all you want to do is do about half the amount of work that you were doing in week 5. To make this easy, and what my coach just programs for me always is just drop your sets down to around 2 for each exercise. That should work out quite nicely. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to decrease in volume enough to let the fatigue dissipate so that you're going to be feeling good the week after. So that's basically for the first half of the week. For the second half of the week, you're going to be doing the exact same thing for the volume and the reps. But what you're going to be doing with intensity is you're going to be dropping it right down to 50 to 60% of week 5's weight. Let's just say you have 4 sessions in a week. So for the first 2 sessions, you're going to be doing an intensity of 80 to 90%. For the last 2 sessions, you're going to be doing an intensity of 50 to 60% of the weight you were doing in week 5. The reason being is for the first half of the week, we're just kind of decreasing the intensity a little bit, but we're trying to keep the strength as best we can. For the second half of the week, because we want to totally let the fatigue dissipate, we're going to drop the intensity right down. This is going to be like a prolonged warm-up. You're not going to feel much from it at all, and that's exactly what we want. I want you to be coming out of this thinking, oh, I want to do more. I feel like I want to do more. I want to push it harder, because you're going to take that into the next week then when you are ready to go for the next phase of the program. So let's take a back squat, for example. So if you're doing 100 kgs for 10 reps in week 5 to failure, what you'll be doing for the second half of the deload week, you'll be doing around 50 to 60 kgs and you'll be doing reps of 5. So again, it should be nice and easy. It should be just a prolonged warm-up more than anything. Now onto the nutrition. So with deloads, you also have to think about the nutrition. If you're in a gaining phase especially, there's no point in you continuously eating a calorie surplus for a whole deload, because you're not giving your body the stimulus during a deload to grow muscle. If you're in a calorie surplus, all your body's going to do is store body fat. So what we want to do, right, for the first half of the week, because you'll still have some after effect. If you're in a gaining phase, you're still going to have some after effect from the week 5 training, so you're still recovering and you're still getting some muscle growth. So for the first half of the deload week, you can stay in that calorie surplus, just again to make sure that you get all the gains that you potentially can and that you're recovering properly. Protein is going to stay the same as any other week, so roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, give or take. So that shouldn't change too much. That should always stay up there no matter what. For the second half of the week, because we're dropping the intensity right down and we're dropping the volume right back and we're just totally recovering, we're not giving our body a stimulus to grow muscle. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go to maintenance calories. So this is a great tool. So when we're just trying to hold on to what we have, we just go to maintenance calories. So we're going to drop our calories back as much as you need to, give or take. It doesn't have to be perfect again. So let's just say your surplus is 3,000 calories, or let's just say you're gaining on 3,000 calories. It puts you in roughly a 200 calorie surplus, give or take. What you will do then is just drop your calories back to roughly the 27 to 2,800, just so that you know that you're in and around maintenance. It's not going to make a huge difference. It's only 3 or 4 days in a week, but again, it's important not to be eating excess calories when you don't need to be. So for the second half of the week, we're just totally recovering at maintenance, and your protein again is going to be the same. Protein rarely really changes. If you're going to be gaining or cutting, your protein is still always going to be in and around the same, or it should be in and around the same if you're trying to get your best results. Okay, so last and final thoughts on the deloads. So first thing, and something that a lot of people miss, is deloads are earned. You only should be taking deloads if you need to take a deload. Now this doesn't mean that like you should just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you break and then take a deload. You do have to preempt them a small bit. But if you're training hard enough through a 4 to 5 week period, then you should need a deload. You should be feeling that your progress in the gym is stalling a small bit. You're starting to get a little bit achy. You're starting to find that the energy levels are coming down a small bit. This is when you know that you need the deload, because you have been pushing it for the last 4 to 5 weeks. So deloads are earned. If you're just tipping away in the gym, you're not really pushing it too much, then you probably don't even need a deload and you can keep progressing. But saying that, if you don't ever need a deload, you probably aren't pushing it hard enough in the gym to need one. So that just basically means that you could be pushing yourself hard in the gym and you could be getting faster progress if you don't need deloads. It doesn't mean you can't keep progressing, but it just means you're probably progressing at a slower rate than you potentially could. So deloads are earned, and if you don't need them, you probably aren't pushing as hard as you could be in the gym. Just very last thing on this as well, a lot of people are probably out there saying, oh no, I haven't been deloading, I haven't been getting good results. You may not have been deloading in the past, but you probably did it inadvertently. So a lot of times I like to plan deloads. So we like to be ahead of the game. We plan the deloads, we push ourselves, plan the deload, take the break and recover. What will happen to a lot of people, they go to the gym, and if you're big into the gym and you're going and you're pushing yourself the whole time, you probably do for a while and you probably do well considering that you're not really planning anything. But what will generally happen to people like that is you'll either get injured, which will be an enforced deload because you have to take time off training, obviously, which is not ideal, or else you just burn out, and like that you'll just get sick of the program, you won't be as consistent, and again you take a step back from the gym. Either way, it's a deload. It's an enforced deload that you haven't really planned for. It's not going to get your best results because obviously what you want to be doing is pushing it, taking a step back, pushing it, taking a step back, and so on. You want to be doing that in a controlled manner where that you actually can keep progressing, not in a place where you take a step back, but that step back it's so far back that you go back to previously where you were, and then you just end up restarting that process and trying to get back to where you got to. So what the deload allows you to do is just to recover so that you can keep progressing. So again, it's a net positive always. Guys, I'm going to end the vlog there. I hope you got something out of this talk. Hasn't been a very exciting week, and it won't be for the next couple of weeks because I'm in my deload week this week, and next week is an active recovery phase. So basically it's just going to be a week of not even training. So it's all kind of leading up to me going into this photo shoot prep. This is like, you don't have to do everything I'm doing. This is obviously very specific to me and what I've basically done. So I've gone through a year of gaining. And I do think deloads have played a huge part in keeping me injury-free, relatively injury-free, only a few niggles here and there, and kept me progressing through the whole thing. So the fact that I've done this consistently for a year, that's why I need these phases of deloads and an active recovery phase as well, just to let myself settle down a small bit so that I'm in a good place to give it up my all in the next phase. And I know sometimes it's hard to kind of delay like instant gratification, but it's really important if you want to keep progressing long term. Everyone wants to get to their goals straight away, and like I'm like everyone else. I like to get to my goals straight away, and I like to obviously rush things a little bit sometimes just to get there. But in the long run, you're always going to do better if you take these little breaks and if you make sure that you're in a good place psychologically and physiologically. Even though it's always very, very tempting just to go straight for it, in the long run it'll probably be slower because you'll end up either falling off and just being less consistent, or else just get sick of the whole process and not even get there. So yeah, your chances are greatly increased if you plan and just again nail everything you need to nail, even the rest weeks, which are important as well. So I'll leave it there with you. Look forward to putting out a couple of vlogs in the future, especially about my photo shoot prep. We'll be putting out a vlog in the next couple of weeks detailing how that's going to work, where I'm starting from, a physique update, and so on. So I'll see you in the next one.